One of the biggest barriers for players getting into a new game or playing with a new group is figuring out how things work. As the previous episode might have suggested, it's like learning a new language. But this doesn't just happen to people starting from scratch. Even if an experienced player comes to your table, there's going to be a few hiccups as they figure out how they interact with the game world and what sort of regular things they need to look out for or be expecting. Even playing a new system can be rough to an experienced group. So today, we'll be talking about game literacy, which is how well a player understands the mechanics of a game and how you as a GM can help facilitate teaching your players new things. So, let's get you your Masters in Dungeoneering. A young squire stands on the battlefield. Her knight has taken a fall after his horse was slain in an ambush. Slowly, the squire drags the knight to sit against a tree. But a bandit advances. The squire has no choice but to pull the knight's sword from his scabbard and defend her dying mentor. I've run this encounter before. But instead of choosing words associated with actions like attack or defend or use an ability, when I ran this, the players said they wait for the perfect moment to strike. At the time, I didn't know what they wanted because there wasn't really a wait for an opening action. Instead of clarifying my confusion, I assumed they wanted to hold their action, and so they waited and they got hurt. In this case, the player isn't really sure what to do in order to have their character act the way they want. Maybe the player wants to take a defensive stance and ward off blows until the character can psych themselves up to attack. Or they want to attack, but just don't quite know how to say it. Sometimes there's also a disparity between what the player wants to happen because of an action and what ends up happening regardless of them successfully acting. In both cases, the best clarification I've found is focusing more on the result of the action they want than the action itself. Simply asking them, what outcome are you hoping to achieve accomplishes this perfectly? That way you can help them find the right action, or figure out what to roll instead of using a listed action. Also, don't be afraid to retcon something if there's any confusion. A role-playing group works best when everyone wants the others to have fun. So, you want to start introducing traps into your game. You've been playing with this group for a while, and you've never used traps before. You're deep into a new dungeon, and all of a sudden they fall into a pit as the ground beneath them gives way. They're mad, but you aren't sure why. It's their fault for not looking for traps, right? Well, now they're upset because they didn't even know they were supposed to be looking for traps. Instead of starting out with a bang, the trap ends up causing an argument. Foreshadowing your new features can help prevent this in the future. For example, players enter a dungeon and find a dead adventurer had set off a pit trap right in the opening. A little deeper in, and there's a click where they step. A pit trap was about to open underneath them, but the mechanism is jammed, and only through sheer fictional luck were they not impaled on the spikes below. This brush with danger lets them know that they're at risk and there are likely similar dangers deeper inside. This can be used for any new mechanic. You don't want to hit them right away with the save or suck stuff. Maybe they find a secret door already open, or a note saying that the owner forgot where the latch was and he left a bunch of gold, magic items, and his cholesterol medication behind a secret door. I love foreshadowing in general, but it isn't just useful in storytelling. It can also be used to introduce key game mechanics in a way that promotes fun, although foreshadowing by itself deserves its own episode. On that topic, when you're adding a new mechanic or trying to teach a player something, do your best to avoid binary results. Binary results, also known as save or suck, is when there are only two usually extreme outcomes to a die roll or check. Either A, they succeed, learn something and or avoid danger, or B, they fail, learn nothing and or get hurt. The biggest reason for avoiding this is because when a player gets no knowledge from a failed action, the player might learn the wrong lesson. Instead, try to give varying levels of success or failure so they know they're at least on the right track. For example, if the path is blocked by a thicket of vines and one of the players wants to try to burn them down. They have to make a check to overcome a plant's resistance with whatever nature, survival, or burning skill they have. But they fail. Instead of just telling them either it works or it doesn't, say something like, "The vines smoke for a bit, but don't immediately catch." Or, "The vines start to catch, but aren't hot enough to continue burning after you remove your torch." Even something as simple as "you fail, but make a little progress" works. Or, you know what, using an earlier example, the players are trying to find a secret door. Maybe they fail, and you can say something like, "Based off the dimensions of the wall, there should be a secret room somewhere around here, but you can't tell how to get in." Or, you can see scuffs on the floor, so you know there's a secret room, but you have no idea how to unlock it. You can't see any traps, but you do find a trail of dust made by some rodent that suddenly disappears. There are scorch marks on the wall from sustained fire, but you're not sure where it came from. All of this can point the players in the direction of taking a second look. Have you ever looked at a new character sheet and been like, "I have no idea what any of this means. What's the difference between burglary and skullduggery? Why is there a personal grooming skill? I have to add how many modifiers together?" If you take on a game for the first time, even if you're familiar with the other ones, it can be hard to keep everything together. It becomes downright overwhelming. So what can you do to help? Basically, moderate the flow of new mechanics, especially with people who have very limited backgrounds. Start with only the basics. Don't worry about all the modifiers. Have someone else handle it, or wait and include it later. Just make sure they're rolling the correct dice. Then add as you go. Learning is easier when people enjoy what they're doing, so the goal early on should be cultivating interest and having fun. Those who don't know the conventions and specific actions, rules, namings, and math of each system will know what they want their character to do, but not know how the system will let them do that. If they're confused when you ask, "What do you want to do?" ask instead, "What are you hoping to accomplish?" Foreshadowing new mechanics can help ease growing pains in groups. Sometimes players will fail at a check and accidentally learn the wrong thing. Avoiding binary results shows that a player or character's actions help, it just wasn't quite enough to succeed. And when introducing a new system or set of homebrew rules, you should do your best to moderate the flow of new mechanics. Too much, too quickly, can overwhelm people and cause more friction. Basically, take it easy when you're doing something new. Start slow, forgive mistakes, even ones you make yourself, and try to give your players the knowledge about their character's surroundings and the effects of their action, even if they don't succeed. If you care about having a good time and telling a cooperative story, start with that, and the rest will come.